The tips were great. In fact, I remember once getting a $50 bill, which I had never seen before in my life. And $50 then was, what, about $200 now. 1980 was a great season. It was exciting. The build up to the World Series was just unbelievable. And even though we weren't cheerleaders, we were on the sidelines just screaming and jumping and just so excited.
I think I can go. And he would look at me and like, yeah, go. Steal the base. Steal the base. He would say it all the time. And even if the first baseman was right there, go.
I'm Greg Murphy.
I'm Sam Stafford.
I'm Todd Zalecki.
This is Ruben Amaro.
I'm Jim Salisbury.
Hi, I'm Arlene Nisson Lassin, thrilled to be on Phillies Nation, presented by Valley Forge Tourism.
How do they do that?
A vacation in Montgomery County, PA is so affordable, you might lose your cool.
Oh, geez. Don't worry about it. It's free.
Feel free to explore the soldiers' huts.
Free? Yes!
Parking is free! Free! It's free!
With so many affordable things in Montgomery County, go ahead. Freak out!
In Philly, it's about more than the game. This is a legendary tailgate town. Our parking lots are filled with friends, food, and fun. So show up to the tailgate wearing first-rate threads from Shibe Vintage Sports. You can find them at 13th and Walnut in Center City, in downtown Wayne, and now open in Westchester. Shibe Vintage Sports, where there's a story in every stitch.
Welcome back to Phillies Nation, presented by Valley Forge Tourism. I'm Greg Murphy. You know, back in the 70s, the Phillies marketing team had all kinds of great ideas on how to get Phillies fans into the seats at Veterans Stadium. You had Kite Man, you had Disco Night, and of course, you had the Hot Pants Girls. And our Sam Stafford caught up with an original member of that legendary squad.
Thanks, Greg. I'm here with Arlene Nisson Lassin, former Phillies Hot Pants Girl. So, Arlene, tell me exactly what the Phillies Hot Pants Patrol was.
They hired us to be, number one, usherettes, to work in the suites, the business suites that were rented by businessmen and companies, and to serve in the 100 level beverages and food if you were lucky enough to get in that section, which was the most high-profile section because you were on camera a lot.
Now you have these iconic outfits. Tell us about those.
Okay, this was my hot pants outfit, and this was our second hot pants outfit. The first one had a high neck, kind of like a priest collar, which and a jacket that matched. It was much too much in the summer because the stadium was not air conditioned. So they went with this, which was more like a romper. And it was much more comfortable. We still had to wear pantyhose and high white boots, patent leather boots with it. And on the cold days, we wore our Phillies jacket. So that was our uniform. And we were allowed to embellish with a few pins that they gave us. They gave us sponsor pins. And I had a little Phillies Phanatic pin and a Phillies logo pin. We were allowed to do that.
You said that this was the second of the outfits. So how many years were you a Phillies Hot Pants Girl?
Okay, 77, 78, 79, 80, and 81. 5.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so
5 years.
And you mentioned the white patent leather boots, very Dallas Cowboys cheerleader-esque.
Yes, exactly.
We know they have a very rigorous tryout. What were the tryouts like for you guys?
Well, it was not nearly as rigorous, but you did have to know baseball.
Okay.
I was a lifelong baseball fan. A lot of the questions were about the team and how much you knew about baseball. They did not want girls coming in that didn't have a clue because the season was very long. We worked every single home game. And they wanted someone who really enjoyed baseball and knew baseball and could present the team well. So
That's awesome.
most of the questions on my first interview were about baseball, my favorite players, why they were my favorite players, why I wanted to do this job. And since I was a lifelong Phillies fan, it was easy. And then I breezed through the second, which were my administrators, my bosses. And that interview was similar. Why do you want to be a Phillies girl? What would you do? A lot of scenarios like, what would you do if somebody became drunk and rude? What would you do? And so you had to have some poise, and that was like the poise portion. And then if you were lucky enough to pass through that, you met Bill Giles. And he personally gave the stamp of approval on the Phillies girls.
Did you have to try out every year, or was it kind of like
No. If you were on time and polished and poised and did a good job, of course, if there were any incidents or anything with players or anything, you would not be invited back. But if you were in good standing, yes, you were always invited back.
How many would you say there was each year?
There were a lot of us, but I couldn't even guesstimate a number because we worked just about every section, all of the suites, and they put a few of us on the upper level, but they mostly put regular ushers on the upper level. They kind of saved us for like 300 level, 200 level, and 100 level, and the suites.
What was your typical game day routine?
We would have to arrive 2 hours before game time because a lot of fans came to get their autographs and just to see warm-ups. And so we were there 2 hours beforehand. We got our assignment, which was rotating. So I could be in a suite one game and the next game, and it wasn't even for the whole home stand. Every single day you would arrive because people called in sick and that sort of thing. So every single day they scheduled us for a different section, and we would go to our section and just have a smile and seat people. If we were in the seating, that kind of section, if we were in the 100 boxes, we would start serving them as soon as they wanted to serve. And if we were in the suites, we would ask if they wanted programs. We would welcome them. We would tell them where the food, what kind of food was offered, where it was located, and that sort of thing.
Now, were you guys ever confused with ball girls? Were you guys separate? Did they have ball girls at that time?
They did have ball girls. Ball girls, there were two and an alternate, I believe.
Okay.
And they actually sat on the field in a different uniform, shorts and like a Phillies shirt. And they caught balls and threw it back. So they were also eye candy, yeah. But they were different. And then there was one of us that was assigned to the Phanatic when the Phanatic came on board. And that girl would have to follow around the Phanatic and just make sure fans didn't get too unruly and that sort of thing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Were you ever with the Phanatic for a game or so?
No, but I was friendly with Dave Raymond, and he used to tease me a lot, got into the newspaper, and on the big scoreboard quite a few times when he stuck his tongue out at me or somehow teased me. So he would do different things, and it was really fun. He was a great guy. I really
awesome.
liked him.
We just had him on the show this past week.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
And what about, I saw a few interviews that you did, and you said that they paid well, that you paid yourself through Temple.
I did. I paid myself through undergrad and graduate school.
Wow.
Yeah. Because it was mostly the tips. It was like a standard amount, which if you do it in 70s monetary value, it really added up. And of course, tuition then was like $1,500 a year. So it was easy to earn tuition, and the tips were great. In fact, I remember once getting a $50 bill, which I had never seen before in my life. And $50 then was, what, about $200 now. So it was really exciting when somebody really appreciated what you did. That was mostly in the suites. The biggest tips were in the suites. However, when we served people on the 100 level, anytime you brought someone food or drink, they would tip you. And so that added up. Even when you were seating people, we had a little mitt, and we would wipe off the seat just out of courtesy because they got dusty and peanut debris and, that sort of thing. And so once we did that, a lot of them would tip us. And they were very generous with tips. Everyone just really appreciated us, and we appreciated them. So the tips were great. Yeah.
Now, being a female in the sports world, you are subjected to a lot of unwanted comments, and you guys kind of rode that line where you wanted some of that attention, but not to the full extent. Did you have any scary moments?
Yeah, I had a couple of drunk people get a little bit aggressive. We always allowed photographs with us. I mean, there are tons of photographs of me with strangers floating around the universe. In fact, a doctor in Philadelphia found me from my blog and said, I took a number of photos of you back in the day. Would you like them? And he sent them to me. So
wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. So when you have an internet presence, people can find you. I guess that's how you found me. But I was so thrilled to get photos that I had never seen. But that was a standard thing where they would want to pose with you. But if the guy got kind of aggressive, security was always standing by. They had very good security. We were told in no uncertain terms that we were to get security if anyone was threatening or harassing or just being too friendly.
So they took care
or
of you
drunk.
guys.
Yes.
Awesome. We'll have more with Arlene coming up.
All right, time now to throw it over to Philadelphia's preeminent quizmaster. It's Johnny Goodtimes, and he's got some baseball trivia.
What Major League player hit over 100 home runs with 3 different teams, including the Phillies?
BetPark's online casino and sportsbook. You love to play, you play to win, you bet BetPark.
When you open the BetParks app, you're in the zone. Winning is always a rush, but the money is in the moments. It's the anticipation of another face card, the thrill of an extra spin, and the pure joy of a jackpot. It's all your favorite games at your fingertips. Plus, get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. You play for fun, you love to win. You bet. BetParks.
Phillies Nation is your source for breaking news, original analysis, trade insights, and more. With credentialed access, our team of writers brings you first-hand accounts from your favorite players on today's team, minor league prospects of the future, and Phillies alumni from the past. Join our community and connect with hundreds of thousands of diehard fans through our social media, road trips, tailgate parties, and charity events. Don't miss a thing. Be sure to visit PhilliesNation.com every single day.
Welcome to This Week in Philly Baseball History, presented by Shibe Vintage Sports. This week in 2014, South Philly native Monet Davis became the first girl in Little League World Series history to pitch a shutout and earn a win for her team. She spent many years playing for the Anderson Monarchs youth baseball program, which provides low-cost, high-quality athletic opportunities for kids in the Philly community. The Monarchs exemplified Jackie Robinson's motto that a life is not important except in the impact it has on other lives. Learn more at AndersonMonarchs.org.
What Major League player hit over 100 home runs with 3 different teams, including the Phillies? That is Jim Thome.
Welcome back to Phillies Nation, presented by Valley Forge Tourism, and I'm back with Arlene. Arlene, we got all the info. Now we're getting into the fun stuff, and we were just talking about how I also was a diamond girl for the Phillies minor leagues. Now, I wasn't too good. I spilled ketchup all over the press box, and you said that it was a big deal if you spilled anything.
Right. There were Cokes spilled. We had to carry everything by tray. And when we were in the boxes serving, and occasionally somebody would bump into us and the Coke would go all over and we'd have to go and get a refill or whatever. But if you spilled on a patron, it was really horrible.
Was it like a balancing act when the Phanatic was around? Because he's always never looking at you.
I was always like this. In fact, I was in the paper carrying a tray, and the Inquirer captured a photo, and I believe you have that photo. I sent it. But at any rate, he was sticking his tongue out at me while I was carrying the tray, and I had it like this. And so,
laser focus.
Yeah. So that, because I knew if he was around, there was trouble.
You mentioned in the first half that you weren't allowed to really get along with the players and stuff, and there was a fine line there. But you were with some iconic guys. You probably caught some of their attention. So did you guys have any fun moments where you just got to interact?
Oh, yeah, because I was on the promotion team.
Okay.
Chris Wheels selected me for the promotions team. And so aside from my Phillies girl hot pants patrol duties, I went to promotions. And so I sometimes went to bank promotions and sometimes I went to team promotions. So the Phillies were involved in a number of charities. Gary Maddox had his child guidance fundraiser every year. And we were invited, the promotions team was invited to that. And so we got to know the players through working those type of events. And they were the most fun ever because not only did the Phillies come, but they invited players from all over. And I got to interact with Keith Hernandez, who was the MVP one year, and he was at I went to an overnight promotion at a casino, and they put us promotions girls in the show that they had presented, and that was my most fun moment ever because we were in this fancy casino. They gave us rooms, and we got to interact with players. We went to their party, and most of them were very polite. We were not supposed to fraternize, but some players did slip you notes, I have to say. When you were working the field boxes or the 100 level and players noticed you, they would slip notes, and we were supposed to ignore them, smile, and but I think some girls maybe did on the side, it was whatever. I always had a significant other. I wasn't interested in that. All the players were married, so
yeah.
I was totally not into that.
You had to choose one. What would be your most outstanding memory with the team?
My most outstanding memory was the World Series and all of the events that followed. 1980 was a great season. It was exciting. The build up to the World Series was just unbelievable. And even though we weren't cheerleaders, we were on the sidelines just screaming and jumping and just so excited. And being on the promotions team, I was invited to so many follow-up things from the World Series. That was my greatest memory. And getting to know some of the superstars of the day, like Mike Schmidt, who was a doll, and Tug McGraw, Tim McCarver. He wasn't really a superstar, but he was a great player.
That's so awesome. Now, today you're a writer, and you actually have a blog on this whole stuff. So where can people find that?
It's called ArleneLassen.com. Hot Flashes blog, which is a take on the hot thoughts going through my brain at this time in life. It has nothing to do with menopause. And I write on my memories because I've had kind of an interesting life. And part of my interesting life was the Phillies. And excuse me, I did get a lot of opportunities. I modeled for a while. And so the Phillies brought me great opportunities. And so I've written about it, and they were wonderful years.
Arlene, this is awesome. And once again, just for everybody at home that wants to hear more, where can they find your blog about all of this?
Okay, it's www.arlenelassen, all one word, .com. And I also have a book out about my reminiscings, and it's called The Best of the Hot Flashes blog. It's available on Amazon.
That's awesome. Arlene, thank you so much for joining us.
Well,
this
thank
was so
you.
fun.
This was great. And again, it was a great time in my life, and I love reminiscing about it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
And now, another crazy Philly sports story that you've never heard. We all know Ed Snider as the father of the Flyers, but how he got the team created one of the most unforgivable rivalries in Philly sports history. In the late 1960s, property developer Jerry Woolman owned the Eagles, Phillies, and Connie Mack Stadium, among other interests in Philadelphia. During this time, he agreed to hire the directionless son of a friend, Saul Snider, in hopes of finding him a career. Ed Snider and Jerry Woolman went on to establish the Philadelphia Flyers and build the Spectrum. But Woolman ran into financial trouble when building the 100-story John Hancock Center in Chicago. He needed to sell the Flyers to stay afloat and still remain owner of the Eagles. Ed Snider refused and Woolman went bankrupt. The two never spoke again. Years later, at the demolition of the Spectrum, Ed Snider was asked if he'd ever consider inviting Jerry Woolman to the event. He replied, only if he was inside.
Parks Casino. This is how you win.
It's summer at Parks Casino, and the weather isn't the only thing that's hot. Slots are hot, table games are hot, sportsbook is hot, live entertainment and restaurants are sizzling hot. And check out the X Club. Join and instantly get $20 free slot play. Plus, we'll match your tiered card from another casino. It's time for some hot summer action at the #1 casino in Pennsylvania. And now 100% smoke-free. Parks Casino, this is how you win.
Feel free to explore the soldiers' huts.
Free? Yes! Hey, parking is free! Free!
Gotta get your value.
There's no better bargain than a vacation in Montco, PA.
These guys can't get enough.
From Octavius Cotto to Connie Mack to Edith Houghton, it's always been about more than baseball in Philadelphia. That's why, in the spirit of those pioneers, Shibe Vintage Sports is a proud supporter of the Anderson Monarchs youth baseball program in South Philly. We believe that it's important to honor the past and also invest in the future. You too can support youth baseball in Philly. For every Philadelphia Star shirt sold, a portion will be donated to the Anderson Monarchs. Visit shibesports.com.
Welcome back to Phillies Nation, presented by Valley Forge Tourism. I'm Greg Murphy. Time now on the show to check in with the guys from the Phillies Show. It's Ruben Amaro Jr., Todd Zalecki, and Jim Salisbury. And this week's guest is perennial All-Star Mookie Betts.
One of your biggest fans is on here, and that's Ruben Amaro. I've heard a lot of stories. He cherished his time with you in Boston. As you know, he's done everything in the game. He was a bat boy for the Phillies. He played for the Phillies. He was an assistant GM. He was a GM. And then when his time as general manager came to an end, he goes back, puts a uniform on, goes on the field as a coach with the Boston Red Sox, and he just so happens to coach the outfielders and base running, and that earned him a lot of time with you. What were those experiences like for you? And maybe Ruben can jump in a little bit and tell us what he enjoyed about working with you as well.
You know, to be honest, he didn't teach me a whole lot about baseball. It wasn't baseball that really stood out. It was really just the honesty, being able to go talk to him, because I didn't really need a whole lot of help playing baseball. I needed like almost life coaching within baseball. And I feel like he was there. He was placed perfectly for that. And sometimes, I mean, when I didn't feel good or whatever, he was like, shut up, just be quiet. Just go play. Just go play right field. Go be Mookie. Go do this, go do that. But he'll remember this. So many times I felt like I could steal this base. Like I feel like I could steal this base. Like I would look at him like with this concern, like I think I can go. And he would look at me and like, yeah, go. Steal the base. Steal the base. He would say all the time. And even if the first baseman was right there, go. Steal the, and it's like, so like just that instilled the confidence in me that really that I use today. Like I even do it now. Like, bro, just swing, just hit, just go. The guy's slow to. I catch myself saying that to the young guys now, and so that's it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't a whole lot of baseball stuff. It was more like the life within the baseball.
Yeah, what was interesting about being with Mookie is I don't know if Mookie really realized how good he was. I really don't. He worked so hard. I mean, he's one of the hardest working guys, perfectionist, great athlete, all that stuff. Everything you see with him on the field every day. But as a person, he was really a perfectionist, and I just don't know. Like he wanted to do everything perfectly, and there were times when I was like, Mook, one, we're going to make mistakes. I was actually glad he got picked off one time. He hadn't gotten picked off in like 4 years or something like that. And I was like, dude, just go. Just be you, because it's okay to make that mistake, and it's okay to be not perfect. And it was just a joy to be around him just because he was really humble about that. I think he believed in himself, but he didn't quite believe in all the things that he could do on the field. And I was like, man, you can do things, and his instinct is just off the charts. But and so he's right. I didn't have to teach him anything about baseball, and the only thing I didn't want to do was screw these guys up, Yui and Jackie and Benintendi. That was my goal. Don't screw them up because they're just fine. But it was fun to be with him. Really.
Mookie, when Ruben was the GM of the Phillies, I know he tried to trade for you.
He said that. And he said he's going to put me at second base.
Well,
is that true?
I needed an infielder. There were some guys that thought that he was not like the classic center fielder, and he was so athletic he could play anywhere in the field. I was like, man, I probably needed a second baseman, so let's get him in the infield, in the middle infield. How good would his numbers and ridiculous would his numbers be as a middle infielder? So, and
what happened with that? Whatever happened? Did they just didn't want to trade?
Well, it got to the point where that year it was Cole Hamels that was involved, and first of all, they didn't want to trade you. I would have gone probably 1-for-1 for you. But I was trying to push hard. You were sort of the top of the ticket for me. And there were some other guys that I was interested in too. At the time, there were some young dudes. So Swihart was there, and
there's a lefty pitcher.
There's a left-hander. Owens was there. Yeah, so yeah, he was. But I was trying to get the big boys, and you were probably the top of the list.
For more Phillies analysis and interviews, subscribe to The Phillies Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever else you get your podcasts. Well, that's going to do it for this week's show. We certainly hope you enjoyed it. And as the Phillies continue through the end of August and into September, we'll bring you lots more here on Phillies Nation, presented by Valley Forge Tourism. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
How do they do that?